Welcome to Tansson TV Plus. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Mom.
Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yep, thank you for joining with us again.
We always love doing this. And Mom, how's your day going thus far?
Brandon, my day is going fine. How is your day going?
All is well here.
That sounds great. And Brandon, we're talking about another Charlie Brown special.
And Mom, which one is this?
This one is called Happiness is a Warm Blanket.
Yes, and so this one released in the United States for Thanksgiving in November of 2012.
Yes. And this to me is a episode that I've never seen before. Had you seen this one before, Brandon?
No, I had not. And I meant to say Thanksgiving 2011.
Okay, yes. Well, anyway, still quite a while ago, and I had not seen it at all. Actually, I had not heard of this episode. But overall, just to give a general synopsis, and I'm just going to do this within a line. Lucy and his grandmother want Linus to give up his blanket. Linus feels as though he is lost without his blanket. And that is this episode in a nutshell.
Well, Mom, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome, Brandon.
And overall, I mean, this is our first time both of us seeing the special. What were your thoughts about this one?
I thought it was very long. And I hate for that to be the first thing that I think about, but it was roughly 40 minutes, and which is a little longer than some of the Charlie Brown specials that we see, and it's just by a few minutes, but still, if I could feel the few minutes, and this one was much deeper than I thought.
And are you able to speak more to that?
Yes, Linus in this episode, and we've discussed throughout the time periods that we've spoken a lot about the Charlie Brown episodes, that we've talked about Linus actually being the person who actually has more of the deeper thought than some of the other characters. And so his messages kind of stand out. And since he was the person who actually had the message in this one, it just truly stood out. Basically, he talks about insecurities and the insecurities that all of his friends have. And so, and along with himself. For him, his is represented by his blanket. But he goes further than that. And he talks about, well, Charlie Brown being insecure about everything. But he talks about, Schroeder and the pitch and the sculpture that he has of Beethoven on his piano. He talks about Lucy kind of obsessing about Schroeder. He talks about Snoopy. He just talks about the insecurities that other people had and what they do to represent those insecurities. And so for him, like I said, is the blanket. And so he just goes and he just talks about what difference does it make if he has a blanket. If he needs it, he needs it. And that helps him get through everything. And so, like I said, it was just much deeper thought than I thought it would have.
Yes, it definitely was. And one of the reasons as to why I wanted you to expand on that is because for those who have not been tuning in to our Peanuts discussions, you should definitely check out the other 9 we had done prior to this. But these Peanut specials aren't necessarily as, I mean, in general, aren't as lighthearted as you might think, like from nostalgia purposes.
No, they're not. I mean, when you think of the peanut specials, you just think about the ones that you hear about all the time. The Great Pumpkin, the Christmas special. You think about those. I think there's an Easter Bunny one that people think about all the time. But this is one that, like I said, had not seen, had not heard of before, and we're seeing quite a few of those, and I have liked them. This one just, like I said, just seemed long in watching it, even though the message was there, and they were pretty overt with the message, so you understand what they're saying.
Definitely. And so for those wondering about the time of this, I mean, it ran for 45 minutes. I mean, that's a long special.
It is a long special. It is.
So yes, and so for context, this is the first and only special to air on Fox, as opposed to like CBS, ABC, and NBC.
Okay. Interesting to know.
Yes, and so most of the original specials ran on CBS. I think there was one on NBC, and then the rest were ABC, and this one was Fox for some reason.
Wow. Wow.
And Mom, before I go into some more behind the scenes and sort of put this into the context of the rest of the Peanut specials, do you have any more thoughts or ratings?
Yeah, you guys know as I like to go through, I try to rate things 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. This one I gave a 2.5, and I think it really was because it just seemed so long. And the same point was said over and over again. And so there wasn't a lot of plot per se development in this one. The message is clear, but the plot development was not really there.
And Mom, I'd hate to say, but I do have to agree with you for that. I would say that this isn't the worst Peanut special by any means that we've seen,
Yeah.
but certainly not the best either. And I'd say that for being a relatively newer special, that it just doesn't seem to quite click the way that most of the other specials do.
Yeah, it's almost. I think you mentioned something about the writers too. Did you say there was a change?
Yes, so one of the big differences for this, which sort of squarely puts us in history. So most of the Peanut specials were written by Charles Schultz, who, of course, made the Peanuts comic strip. It was also um, put together by the team of Lee Mendelson and Bill Melendez, who were two of the main directors or producers. And so, with music from Vince Guaraldi, and by this time, all four of them had already passed away.
Got it. Got it. Well, that makes sense. Makes sense. So it sounds like maybe the writers are kind of finding themselves, maybe a little bit.
Yes, and I will note that this truly is the first one without the involvement of like I said, of any of those. And so the writers, well, one of the primary writers, one of two of them, was Craig Schultz, who ended up writing some of the future specials for Apple.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, the message was very clear, and that part I did like about it.
Yes, and for a little bit more behind the scenes, while of course Charles Schultz was not directly involved since he was no longer with us at this time, they did actually apparently, from doing a little bit of research, directly lift some of the topics and themes from the some of the very first issues of the Peanuts comics from the 1950s, 60s.
Okay. But like you said, since this is 2010, that's a big gap in there.
Yes, it definitely is. And so this was actually the first Peanut special in 5 years at this point.
Got it. Okay. All right. And what else do you have to add to it, Brandon?
Well, not only was this the first Peanut special in 5 years, the only one at the 2010s. It was another 10 years before another special after this.
Wow. They were truly finding themselves.
Yes, and we did actually review that next special, and that was Snoopy Presents for Old Lang Syne.
Okay. And I like that one. There
Yes,
is a clear difference in the ones that are a little bit more recent.
yes, and so after this special, the rights went over to Apple, and so they've been working on those recent specials. So this one's number 45, and there are now 52 specials total.
Wow. Well, we're working our way through too.
Yes, we definitely are. I mean, Mom, this is our 10th one that we're speaking about now.
I know that is really scary. It is, and then actually we have 11. We've seen the other one that we're going to talk about later.
Well, Mom, I'm excited to, I said to get into that one. And are there any, uh, not to say are there any particular specials you're looking forward to, but now that we've sort of hit most of the decades, like have you been able to see the progression forward since then? I mean, we've hit the 60s, the 80s, the 90s, now 2010 and 2010s and 20s.
Yeah, actually, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the more current ones, because I will say that I have liked the way they are writing them, and I like that they're doing a lot of character development. Not to say that this particular episode did have character. Well, the character didn't develop. The character was basically the same for this one, but where the ones that are kind of moving forward, you see character development that goes through, and they explain things. They explain some of the situations or the characters themselves as they appeared 30, 40 years ago, they give a little background to it, or they move them forward to show how they have progressed as a person.
Definitely. And I will say, for my last thought of the special is, I think the standout moment of this whole special was towards the end, where Linus was talking about everyone's insecurities and was asking, "Yeah, are any of you secure?" And I think we all had the "oh" moment when Linus had asked uh, if they wanted for him to end up like Charlie Brown.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yeah. We did. It did make you pause the way it was written, and that was done really well, and that stood out. And so yeah, so I did like the way they kind of added all of that in. Not that anyone needs to be insecure like that, but I like the way they kind of wrote that. So, and to kind of show that it was okay for him to have his blanket. If he needed that, he needed it. He was okay.
Yes, he definitely was. And Mom, I looked it up. The only 2 decades of Charlie Brown of Peanut specials that we're missing are the '90s and 2000s.
Oh wow, 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 wow. Okay. All right, Brandon. Well, I'm looking forward to speaking with you for the next special that we watch.
Yeah, I am for you as well, Mom.
All right, guys. Let us know if you've seen this. It'll be interesting to hear how many of you guys have actually seen this special. And we thank you guys for watching.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, have a great day, everybody.